I will present the application form, which is this piece of paper, which now probably worth nothing. But in a couple of months, for some of you, it can worth several million euros. So that should be a good incentive to start filling in the application form as of right now. I will just, skid on top of the application form, so I will not go into detail, because otherwise we will actually enter a very technical discussion, and we want to avoid that at this point. But still, I need to start with some key technical advices that you need to account for before starting filling in the application form, and not only, also during the actual dialogue that you have with your project partners. So, for example, you need to use Acrobat Reader 10 or higher. So when you go back home, check your computers if they are up to date with the Acrobat Reader. If you use other PDF forms, the application form might not work properly. This is a highly complex document. It has some Java programming behind, so it can happen that if you are not using the proper Adobe system or Java update, the document doesn't function as it should. We took the effort to create an interactive form, so it's quite intuitive in some elements, and I will explain a bit later how this intuition goes. Like, for example, if you select one drop-down menu, then you can, it will, let's say, limit your option only to certain elements from which are connected to your priority area, for example. We took the length to develop some guidance. So, for example, when you scroll above the application form, you will get some information about the character numbers that it's left for filling in. Save the data, of course, from time to time. And one key element, after you press that validate button, you will not be able to modify the application form. So before pressing the validate button, always read the document twice, 3 times if needed. Yeah. Okay, I will not insist on this main data part, because this is the very short part at the beginning, but you will see, for example, that the name of the lead partner is automatically imported from the section where you actually fill in all the data about the lead applicant. And you will see, for example, that if you select priority area 1, then you have only 2 options, which is specific objective 1.1 or specific objective 1.2. So we try to guide you a bit with the way we built this application form. Project summary, this slowly starts to become an important part, because we need to see a clear and simple summary of the project, and that's why I wrote some buzzwords, some keywords for this part, which is short but comprehensive, article-like type, and of good quality, because usually this is the first narrative that someone is reading, like external stakeholders or the media, when the project becomes approved and public, or the members of the monitoring committee or the national contact points, which are some of them are here in the room. So this is like the mirror of your project. So try not to copy paste information, or different elements from the application form, but try to actually catch in those 1,000 or more characters the essence of your project. The project budget summary, which is a small box at the beginning of the project, it's basically the sum of the working packages. We have inserted preparation costs by default, so you can cover some of the expenses that you are having right now with preparing your projects. And in case there are some inconsistencies between the figures in the application form and the budget Excel table, then the budget Excel table is the one that it's considered as being valid. Here, this is a key element of the application form. This project partner section. Basically, some of us are saying that this is the foundation of the project. With a good partnership, can lead to a good implemented project and to good results. That's why the composition of the partnership is very important. The territorial relevance, of course, is very important because we have a geographical area that we need to cover. Thematic competencies. Here I would like to stress that a lot of projects in the first call, they did not pay attention to thematic competencies, and these are very important, in fact, for all priorities, especially for priority area 1, where we look for quadruple helix approach, but not only. So please take some effort and emphasize the thematic competence of that project partner that you are counting on, to be honest, in the end. Geographical coverage, just mentioned, it's very important. Of course, pay attention when you select the legal status of your organization, because this can result in further delays at some point. And when you select your associated strategic partners, do it because they will actually bring added value to your project and explain the activities in which they are going to be involved. We don't want to see information of general interest. This is something that happened in the past, simply information added from the website of the organization, like this, when you go on a website, is like about us, and then that information was taken from the website and put into the application form, or from the statute of the organization. So we look to see competencies in relation to the scope of the project and to the partnership itself. Here, the project description, of course, here you will have to go into the direction of emphasizing the strategic relevance of your project, which has to be descriptive and cursive, so logical. You have to emphasize the joint cooperation. There was a discussion earlier about it. Intervention logic, we will have a presentation about this in a couple of minutes, and the horizontal principles. And here I put some tips on some do and don't elements. So, for example, try to connect, of course, when you go into your geographical area and you identify the needs of that area and of that target group, try to connect those needs to the objective of the project and to the result of the project, of course. So USDR, my colleague already told you, so we now the difference between the first and the second call is that we want to embed your contribution at the level of the working packages. So don't keep this information in that capsule under project description, but take it to the operational level, which are the working packages. Policy background and framework, since we are a policy driver program, this is our mission. We like to avoid simple listing of policies, but to go more into depth and understand which is the policy background of your project and how is this contributing to our mission and to the scope of your project. Partnership, here there are several elements where you add information about the partnership. Here you will also have to tackle some to explain how your partnership is helping achieving the goals of your project, but keep also in mind the information that those thematic competencies that you explained in the previous section, and also the role of the project partners under the working packages. So try to connect these three elements. When it comes to capitalization and synergies, of course, we will like to see that there is a vision about how you are going to contribute to our capitalization strategy, which is defined in the applicant's manual. Durability and transferability of results. This was one of the main problems, and you should focus actually on this key element because we are a result-oriented program. So then, of course, we want to see results which are durable and transferable, and which are connected to the target group. So don't develop results or outputs outside the actual interest of the target group, because that's not a result-oriented approach. Horizontal principle, one of the common mistakes in the previous application phase for the first call was that these horizontal principles were simply, let's say, explained in that box, but then nothing was mentioned in the working packages. The value added of these horizontal principles was not clearly understood, and we need to see how those ideas that are listed under the horizontal principle part, like sustainable development or equality between men and women, are actually taken to an operational level in the working packages. And of course, the best tip of the day is that for the intervention logic, you should listen carefully to my colleague Simona, which is following after me. Of course, don't copy paste. Don't forget to connect the dots, as I said earlier, that there are like the information about the project partners, which you can find it under section 2.3 under strategic relevance in the working packages. Bring up-to-date information. We had projects, I don't know, coming with data from 2004 or even earlier. So we will, since these projects are going to probably end up after 2020, not probably, but for sure, then maybe we should try to keep to be as relevant as possible with the data that we are using, and to try to find recent data as a justification for our actions. And of course, use the knowledge that you have accumulated in the preparation phase. And peer review, here I can give you a good hint. If you open the applicant's manual, part 4, you will see that in order to be more transparent and to guide you, you have here the list, more or less the list with the assessment questions. So when you develop your application form, maybe ask someone who is not, I don't know, directly involved in your project, to peer review your project idea and your application form according to these questions which are here, because basically this is what the assessor will have in front of him when he will check up, when he will evaluate your application form. Activities, of course, be coherent, put a lot of weight on thematic packages. You will see that you have 3 predefined work packages. One is the preparation package, which is working package 0. The other one is the project management. Of course, you cannot have a project without project management. And the second package is communication, which is also very important, because if you have good results, then you should also be able to communicate them to a wider audience. Infrastructure and works. Some of these elements were already tackled, what infrastructure means, what works means, equipment and time plan. You will see that when you develop your working packages, the dates that you are putting for each and working packages are transferred to the time plan section, and then you will have like a nice Gantt scheme there. Of course, explain the process. One of the common mistakes in the previous application phase was that the projects were very schematic, so like 2 or 3 lines, which are not helping basically the evaluator to understand the process behind those activities, to see how the project partners are involved, how the deliverables are achieved, how they are connected to the outputs, and so on. That's why I need to stress once more, use the available character space, and of course provide clear justification for the equipment and investment. It's not an open market. It's not like you can buy everything that you want. What you need has to be properly justified by the scope of the project, of course. I mean, it's not like if one project partner buys a computer, then every project partner should buy a computer. It doesn't go like that. We assume that that partners which are jumping into this joint venture of creating a transnational program have a computer to work on. Yeah, it can happen that some of them they don't have, but it's hard to innovate without these key elements like a computer or a printer, or it's hard to say that you can really change the framework conditions for innovation if you don't have these basic elements to begin with. That's why don't forget to keep it real. This goes again to the question that being original, yes, be original, but in the framework of the project, of the program. And don't overlook the importance of this section within the overall, let's say, assessment procedure, because this is actually where you show how your project idea is going from a theoretical part to an operational part. These are some administrative issues. I'm not going to insist a lot of them. There are some codes for priority team dimension. At the end of each application form, you will have to select 100% contribution to them, and of course, you will have to focus on the priority team dimension codes which are belonging to your priority area. List the keywords that you think are the best representing your project, and already my colleague Gustav told you about these annexes that have to come together with the application form, which is the partnership agreement, state aid declaration, and all those other declarations. Of course, some of them are optional, because if you don't have an ASP, then you are not requested to submit any ASP declaration. So basically, this is it. If there are questions which relate to how the application form is functioning, then you can always call us or write to us. But it is important to have up-to-date IT systems, and don't send the application form to multiple project partners, because some of them are using Apple, some of them are using, I don't know, Windows 7, another one is using Windows 10. Maybe it's better to gather the information in a Word document and then insert it into the actual application form to make sure that it functions.